If you like this video, why not subscribe? Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Frugal Filmmaker, the place where poverty is no excuse. Today we're going to turn to the Frugal Filmmaker mailbag to answer a few questions and concerns some people have had. Some people have had an issue with last episode's stabilizer rig, saying that the threads that came out of the PVC plug were too long and their camera couldn't lock down onto the platform. Some have already addressed this by adding a nut in between the machine screw that goes into the T-joint, which shortens the thread. The problem is now the rig will not sit properly, it'll teeter on the machine screw. And people have already fixed that problem by either adding a T-joint in the rear, replacing the lower rear elbow, or raising up the front so that the machine screw doesn't touch wherever it's sitting. If it were me, I would just take a rotary tool and cut off the extra thread, but that's just me. Another issue that's come to my attention is that the Bartok microphone clip used on the DIY boom pole no longer has dual threads. The one that I got had 5/8" threads and 3/8" threads, allowing me to screw the pole into the clip. But apparently that clip no longer has 3/8" threads, only 5/8", which causes a problem. I recommend to fix this, you get an adapter from eBay, it costs about $1.60 with free shipping, and screw that into the Bartok clip and you will now have your 3/8" threads. Problem solved. Sorry about the extra expense. Okay, on to an email I received that is the basis of today's episode. It comes from Kurt Henley. And he writes, I was wondering if you might devote some time on your blog to capturing sound. Microphones are not cheap and cameras have crappy built-ins, so I'm curious to know whether you found good alternatives. And I also received an email from a YouTube user, Nini213, and he says, can you do a video about mic control, mic levels, mic attenuation, etc.? Now, any question about audio could take forever to answer, so I'm just going to hit some specifics addressing what Kurt asked about inexpensive microphone alternatives. The microphone that I've used on every episode of this show is a Radio Shack clip-on mic, also known as a lavalier mic that I'm wearing right now. Here it is. And here's the box it comes in. This is the Radio Shack tie clip microphone, model 33-3013. It's $27. You open it up and revealing the microphone here. It's got your standard parts. This is a little microphone element which comes on a nice little tie clip. Great for attaching to lapels, ties, any item of clothing. Has an inline power supply right here with an on-off switch. It runs on a tiny button cell battery that's lasted me every episode I've used this. It hasn't died on me yet. So that's proven to be pretty power efficient. It terminates in a mono 1/8" plug right here. You're not going to get XLR mics for $27, so this mic is unbalanced. It also has a 6-foot cord, which is just the right length, I think. Now, to properly connect and use your microphone with any camera, you're going to need 4 things. You'll need a mic input to actually physically connect the microphone to the camera. You'll need a headphone jack so you can monitor the sound coming from the microphone. You'll need audio level meters so you can see where that sound is hitting. And you'll need a way of manually adjusting those levels. Now, any audio level meter worth anything is going to give you some basic information that will help you get proper sound. It'll have a graphical representation of your sound indicated here by this pulsating bar graph. It'll give you some numbers which you want to target your sound within. In this case it's -12 and 0. I don't know why there's no negative sign next to the 12 there, but it's -12 dB. You want to aim for that number so you can adjust your levels manually and have it hit right around there as your subject is talking or your sound is recording. You don't want it to go past 0 because the audio will then distort or clip and it won't be very good. So adjust your levels manually and try and have it around 12. You'll be fine. So what if your camera doesn't have these features? Well, you can always use a separate digital audio recorder and do double system sound. This is the new Zoom H1. These just came out. And these are actually pretty nice. They're only $99. As you can see, they give you level meters. They give you a microphone in. They give you a headphone out. You can adjust the level right here. You can adjust the bit rate. This just has all very different kind of features. Very versatile. For 99 bucks, I think that's a great buy. To add that to any camera would be a great idea. But if you think $100 is too spendy, which I can understand why, you might try something like this. This is an MP3 recorder and player. It's not really meant to be a digital audio recorder. The addition of that feels kind of like an afterthought, but it does have a mic input, and you can adjust the levels manually, but you can't see meters, so you kind of have to do some dry runs, some tests to see if how well this is going to work. The problem I found with this is the iRiver IFP 890. There's also the 895 and 899. They just vary with memory. Even though this is only 256 megabytes, you can fit a lot of audio on it, 5 hours actually. But the problem I found is that when you use the mic input setting on the menu, that the preamps are too noisy. You can actually hear digital noise, which is unacceptable if you're going to use this for any kind of audio recording. The only way I got it to work at all was to use the line input and then use some kind of external preamp like a mixer, and it sounded not too bad. Not as good as this, but not too bad. I think these have some applications because if you're going to mount either of these on a person, you can't see the meters anyway. If you're going to conceal a mic and have them walk around and you don't want them tethered to your camera, I think that's a good idea. I think this is probably a better idea because this feels a little more durable. If your actor sits on this, I wouldn't be too worried. If they sat on this, I would be worried. This is a little flimsier. But I recommend if you're going to go this route, go the iRiver route, look for the 700 series. They're supposed to have better preamps that aren't noisy. So the 790, 95, and 99 are the ones you want to get. You can get those on eBay for about 20 to 25 bucks. But the 700 series are harder to find. The 800 series are more common. So it's kind of a crapshoot, but if you can afford it, get the Zoom H1. If you can't, try and get the iRiver IFP 700 series for your separate double system sound recording. Now remember, if you do decide to use one of these iRiver recorders, to upgrade the firmware. This will put a cap on your bitrate at 96 kilobits per second, which is still fine for dialogue, but it will also turn this into a USB drive, and when you plug it into your computer, it will be seen as such. Otherwise, you're stuck using iRiver's proprietary software, which won't work on modern operating systems like Vista and Windows 7. Okay, we're rolling.
Findle, shot C, take one.
Now, if you're going to record double system, you're going to need a way of matching sound with picture, and that's what a clapper slate is for. When those sticks clap together, it'll spike your audio, and you'll see it in your waveform. So when you get it into your editor, you can see an obvious hit in the audio, with which you can either match to the on-camera sound or the visual representation of the sticks hitting together, match the spike in the audio to those sticks hitting, and your sound will be in sync. I prefer the dual waveform way, where you just leave your on-camera mic on for the sole purpose of matching the two audio spikes. So what can you do with this little microphone? Well, the obvious use is interviews. You just simply clip it to your subject and record them talking. Here I'm interviewing two people at a pet show, and I put the microphone on the woman's left lapel so that I can record both of them talking. I put the microphone in between them since I didn't have two microphones for each of them. I just put it in between and got a clean recording. Here's another use. This isn't a narrative story, but I needed to record two actors in a car. The challenge is, how do you do that without having them hit the microphone or just be in the way? A shotgun mic isn't practical here. So the answer was to put two lavalier microphones in the visors, which is pointing directly at them, and worked just great. Here's another idea. Remember that port at the bottom of the stabilizer rig we built in the last episode? Well, how about inserting about a 14-inch piece of PVC and then putting a T on the end? You can then clip the lavalier right to the T and wrap your cable accordingly. Now this would work if you just wanted to record whomever you were pointing at. If I were to refine this idea more, I would probably replace part of the T with a rubber band so that I could have a shock mount clipping the mic to the rubber band instead of the actual T, because you can hear operator noise through all the PVC. I then also put the power supply in the cross T on top of the rig. Holds it quite nicely. The cable comes out the bottom, plug it into the camera. Now the challenge with this kind of setup, this is purely experimental of course, is that you'll have to have very well-trained actors who don't mind having pipes stuck in their face. Now the camera can't see it, of course, it's just below the frame, but they'll be able to. They're in their periphery, and it could be very distracting, but I think it's a fun idea that might be worth testing. Okay, here's another interview, and if you look closely, you'll notice that you can't see any microphone. Now I'm not using a shotgun mic or a boom or anything here. I'm still using the lavalier mic, but it's concealed underneath the clothing of this person. And you'll see here, she reveals it at the end. There actually is a microphone under her clothes. Now, this is usually fairly easy when you do it with someone that isn't moving. So let's say your actor isn't seated. Chances are, if they're up and moving around, that their clothes will rub on the head of the microphone. Sounds terrible. How do you fix that? Wrap the microphone in moleskin This will act as a buffer between the clothing and the head of the microphone. That could work. Another idea is that you take some makeup sponges and a hole punch, and you punch a hole in the makeup sponges, trim it to size. That'll give you something like this. It'll give you a nice little hole with just the right size to put a microphone into. And then this whole thing will act as another type of buffer. Just gaff tape it to their clothes, and that'll help insulate the microphone from their clothes as well. Another good idea is found in Jay Rose's great book, seen here, is that you can take your microphone and sandwich it between two triangles of double stick gaff tape or inside out gaff tape. Stick them in between two layers of clothes so that the microphone doesn't move around, or that the clothes don't move around the microphone, and that will also help your sound. Now you can use any combination of these ideas, whatever works. The idea is just to get rid of that nasty sound of clothes rubbing on the microphone, because it is horrible and you will notice it, and so will everyone else. And that's the basics of using this inexpensive microphone. Radio Shacks are everywhere, so check it out. And if you find out any other uses for it, please drop me a line and let me know, and I'll feature it on the blog. If you like this tip, please come to thefrugalfilmmaker.com for more, and you can also find us on Instructables, Facebook, and Twitter. And if you have a comment, question, or request, please send it to thefrugalfilmmaker@gmail.com. Stay tuned next week, where we will be building the #1 requested piece of DIY gear. See you then.